Okay, I want to add a little bit of information, a kind of alternate take to the tutorial I hope you've been playing with to make a wooden crate, that video tutorial. Um, what I want to get across the most here is that trying different things and doing the tutorial and then going through and using that tutorial again to try to create something new and different than the tutorial, and then doing it on your own, and then doing it a fourth time, making something completely different. These are the only ways to learn these steps. The steps are not difficult, they are simple, but they are not intuitive. So you cannot learn this material by following me in the classroom. You can't learn this material by following a tutorial. All you've done is followed some steps. Doing it the fourth time, you will know what you're doing. At least you'll remember what the steps are. And eventually, some of these will make more sense to you. So I'm going to use this cube and create a new texture. I'm going to use some of the same techniques. My texture will be metal, and I want it to be kind of corroded looking. So let me show you where I'm going to get that texture. I'm going to get it from ambientcg.com. AmbientCG.com offers, in the materials, this is where I'm at, offers all these materials for free. They're all made by one person. They come out periodically, so there's always new materials. There are pages of this stuff. They're all presented in spheres, which is just the traditional way. As you recall, we made a brick sphere, and here's a brick sphere. And obviously, spheres aren't usually made of brick, but this is the traditional way to display a material. Ooh, I like that one, but I've already got the one I'm going to use. So I want a metal with some corrosion. I'm going to make a crate, just like the tutorial, but my crate's for a haunted spaceship, right? So I want something that looks like it's been around for a while. Metal is more space crate material. I click on one of these, any of these materials, and I can see there are downloads. They're zip files. They come with a material and a bunch of maps, including two different kinds of normal maps. And we may get so far as to use those in this. They're 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K. You may notice that they're doubling every time. They're a zip and PNG. JPEG and PNG zips. I'm going to use the 2K JPEG. It's not exactly 2K. It's the closest. It's the power of 2 within the range of 2K. This is the power of 2 within the range of 4K. So this fellow, whose name escapes me, and it kind of is anonymous, has done all this work for us. Notice that he tells us this material is based on these materials, so it uses these more foundational assets, and that there are variations. And so maybe in my world, I might want some more corroded things, and here's some more, and some new versions. And so these are very, very well put together, free materials. And I know they're free because he has this license information. So licensing information is important to look at. For this class, I want you to use only things you create or that have been that you have the right to use. Creative Commons Zero license is public domain, meaning, well, in fact, that you can copy, modify, distribute, and perform these assets even for commercial purposes, all without asking permission. You can include the raw files in your project, for example, a video game. So Creative Commons licenses come under different numbers, and zero is public domain. The things to watch out for in commercial commons licenses are some say not for non-commercial purposes they're giving it to you, and many people want attribution, which is giving credit. If you're using a material that says with attribution, then you should copy that information, keep it, and make some kind of note in your when you turn things in to me or when you create a game in your game credits. It's best if you keep a little document with those and turn that in with your materials. I mean, with your everything else you create. He says giving credit. You don't have to give credit, but of course he would appreciate it, and you should, right? So he says he would appreciate it. This guy's giving his stuff away for free. This is the right thing to do. That's what I'm saying. So this is the line of credit he suggests, right? Created using, and you wouldn't have to do this for every asset. If you use 15 assets, 30 assets from this site, you could just say, this game created using assets from ambientcg.com, blah, blah, blah. So this is good stuff, right? I want to talk for a minute about, here's my Photoshop document. So here's the texture that I liked. Here is, maybe you can barely see these gray outlines. This shows me the UV wrapping. And it's worth noting, in fact, I think I have a, I have a still from, it's not a still, this is actually paused video. But you can see here, this is the tutorial. These double zeros appear at the top of this box. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where they are. And 1V is upside down, folded over. So if I go back to, so this will be the top texture. This will be one of the faces, and it will be kind of top this way up. This will be the bottom. So if you imagine cutting this out and folding it around, this is the top, this is one of the upright sides, this is the opposite upright side, these are the other two upright sides, this is the bottom. And any texture, smears, I've got some of those, right? These smears here will wrap perfectly. So I don't have to worry about tiling. This is, kind of pre-tiled from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, right? Anything that crosses one of these lines will wrap perfectly. But this line, when this folds up, right, this line will match that line, and the texture won't automatically map across this boundary. Does that make sense? This line has to match, what is it, that line. So, a good chunk of this will be, I don't have to worry about it wrapping, and the rest of it, maybe I can get away with it. Yeah, I'm going to save this, go back into Maya. I have lights in here so that when I render, I can see it from all sides. I just want to point that out. The render requires lights. Yeah. So I'll click on the cube, I'll pull down, right click, and pull down Assign New Material. I'll choose Arnold, AI Standard Surface. These would normally be wrapped up, so I'll just wrap them up. Here's my new surface. It's going to be called Surfaces 5. I'm not going to change the name here. I think I'm doing this at the wrong time or something, so I'm just going to leave this for a moment, and I'll pull down Base. So it's the color I'm going to replace with a file. This is the checkerboard that says, oh, what do you want to replace it with? A movie, noise, ocean? I want to replace it with a file. Image name, there's the file folder. And I think I've got these. So there are source images and images. Source images are final images that you're going to use in the game. Images, I think that's for where your working images are. And so this is a cube texture PSD. It's a Photoshop document. I won't use that. Finally, I'll use some kind of TGA, but I'm using it now because I'm going to keep playing with it for a bit. I'm seeing my texture here, but maybe you aren't, right? Maybe it's because, well, if you're seeing a wireframe, you should know. But if you're seeing something like this, it's because you're on 4, 5, and 6. So if you don't see a texture immediately, the first thing to try is hitting the number 6. And if that doesn't work, troubleshoot it. So I'm going to just zoom in a bit and look around here. So I turned off all the other layers except this texture, and so you can see here the parts that fold and wrap around. If I had the wireframe, of the UV, you would see that along these edges. It'd be gray. But here I've got a so these textures wrap perfectly. The smears, they start here and there, but not here, right? You can kind of almost believe it because there's a, kind of by coincidence, there's a wrap here, but not here. Yeah, wraps here, wraps perfectly here, but not here. So if I want to, I can mitigate that. But actually, let's just look at it and think. Let's look at the UV editor, because that's going to be the real view. No, not the UV editor. Pardon me. The Arnold renderer. There we go. If you can't rotate this stuff, and again, it's okay. So somehow one of the lights has been turned off or something. I'm not seeing the whole thing, but so this is perfectly wrapped, isn't it? Yep. Let's see if so then I don't really have one that's not. Let me get another light here. If I can't rotate, Alt drag and Alt wheel to zoom in and out, I can. I guess I don't have to Alt wheel. I guess Alt wheel and drag is pan. So somehow, I'm just going to minimize this. Where's my extra light? So W, E, and R are move, rotate, and scale. The scaling light won't do anything. So I don't know. These lights are on. They should be in the render. Oh. Come on. It's down here. It minimized. Maximize. Yeah, okay. So, so the fold here is perfect. The fold here, not, right? But let's just look at it. Does it bother me? No. If this was wood grain and it was running one way and then suddenly the other way, you need some kind of thing in the middle. But somehow this doesn't bother me. This fold is not contiguous, right? But it looks fine. It looks like something that, metal that got marks on it. But if I really wanted to, I could get in there and make some things a little bit different. I'm going to minimize this. And I could use some, well, in fact, you know what? I'm going to leave that as an exercise for you. Let's look at the Photoshop document real quick. I'll put this, no, not this. I'll put this back on. Can you see that gray? I can do this actually. I'm just going to use the magic wand tool and choose my layer and delete, and now you can see this is a little bit sharper gray, maybe just barely. So there we go. I can throw I could get in here, well, I just do a bit of it. I could get in here with the clone stamp tool, which we know of already. I'll make it a little bit bigger. What I want is not to, what I want is for, like, say, this edge would be matching this edge, but I don't have to do that. I can actually just, I'll copy, was it Alt? No, here we go. Here's my clone stamp tool. I'll Alt click here, so I'll be sampling from here, which is just the kind of pure gray. And let's zoom in here. I don't have to match this to the other edge because all I have to do is make them less distinct. So I've got a sample over there. I'll paint it here, and I think I want a hard edge brush, and I need a and I have to, here we go. I'll sample from here. I have to choose the layer I'm going to sample and paint. So there's my sample, and I paint here. So anything I paint here I don't have to worry about going over the edge because none of the over the edge stuff will appear anywhere on my texture. That's according to the tutorial. So that edge will match any edge that looks like this. I'm going to just zoom out. That's Z. I just hold down the Z key and Alt to zoom out. I'll sample from over here. Sample from over here, and I can make this. I thought I was sampling here. There we go. Now that doesn't look good, right? But I can sample from, say, here, and use my opacity here. Oops. As long as I don't cross the line. Now I want a soft brush. Let's just zoom in again. So I got a soft brush. I'll just undo a couple here. I got a soft brush to paint in here. As long as I don't cross that line, I can get as much gunk. I'll sample again. Oops. I'll sample again from down here, maybe. I can get as much gunk as I want up there. I can bring up the opacity. As long as I don't cross the line. So, and I can do it. I don't have to worry about that edge, the other, because that won't wrap. Where did I do it? Okay, I did some here. I'll sample from here. Here. I have it a little bit there. That's right. This will wrap perfectly. So I don't know if this makes sense to you or not. So I just created, basically, I created a gray border, metallic border here. None of these blobs drift across, smear across that line. These will wrap, and these won't. But it doesn't matter because this will go. Let's just use an arrow here. This will go texture, 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 and when it gets to here, it's all just featureless gray, not a lot of scratches and things. And then this side won't print anywhere. Later on, we'll get rid of that. So Z Alt is, oh, whatever. There we go. I'm zooming out. So the idea is that this will blend perfectly, and this will blend perfectly because it's just metal without, and all the stuff outside the box, the UV grid, I don't have to worry about. Does that make any sense?